There's a recurring theme in Brian's life, identifying the exploits that are possible in a game and weaving them together into a cohesive strategy. He did it with Magic the Gathering several times, and he did it with Diablo 2. And now he's doing it with the method for disc golf.
Brian is a very intense thrower of the disc and a very good thrower of the disc.
Magic the Gathering is a fantasy trading card game that came out back in 1993. It's kind of the original trading card game where people buy booster packs of cards and put together a deck and then trade for ones they need and then play them against their friends. It's a really big deal to a lot of nerds out there.
The first time I touched Magic, I was hooked instantaneously. There was something about the game that just immediately grabbed my attention. I said, I need to understand this better than I've understood anything in my life.
In the early 90s, there were a variety of strategies that people used to try to even talk about Magic or think about Magic the Gathering, and Brian Weissman developed the deck that beat them all. It was the first consensus strategy that was understood to be the best in the world, across the world.
Brian revolutionized this idea of card advantage, and that was a very out-of-the-box thing at the time. Basically, the idea that you try to draw more cards than the opponent, and you'll win through inevitability because of the amount of resources that you have in the game.
It was indomitable. It beat everything. It was just the deck.
Brian would always say and evangelize, hey, this is possibly the best way to play the game. It's probably the best deck. That's why they ended up calling it the deck. And his phenomenal win rate was kind of like a testament to his ability to come up with this strategy of play.
It's apparent to me that when Brian plays a game, he doesn't just play it to win, he also plays it to understand it so that he can help impart that knowledge on other people.
Brian's doing the same thing with disc golf that he did with Magic the Gathering, breaking down ivory towers and sharing strategy with the masses, so that the most number of people can be included in the mix of, pushing the game forward.
We pick up the action as Dave Price and Matt Lindy begin Game 2.
Also a good choice.
So I played Magic essentially full-time from 1994 till the end of the 20th century. I was getting a lot of external pressure from my family to go back to school, to finish my degree, to get serious about my life again. I kind of started to agree with that sentiment. Lucky for me, something appeared right at that time. Diablo 2. And that game grabbed me like no game ever had.
To say that Brian figured out how to beat Diablo 2 at a profound level would be an understatement. Brian was able to take his strategy and completely just dominate.
I met Brian in the early 2000s because we both played online role-playing games, and at the time we were playing a game called Diablo 2, a very formative game, and that resulted in a close friendship which has endured to this day.
And one interesting thing kept reappearing in our conversations over and over again. Could we in fact make a game that would be a worthy sequel to Diablo 2? Crazy idea.
Grinding Games is a New Zealand-based studio. I founded it along with Brian Weissman, Jonathan Rogers, and Eric Olofsson 17 years ago now. We're famous for making the game Path of Exile, which is an online action role-playing game.
When Brian and his friends made Path of Exile, it was like a kind of a game changer. It not only redefined that genre in a sense, but it also became a global cultural phenomenon.
It won GameSpot's PC Game of the Year, beating a whole bunch of AAA titles. We were off to the races. People loved it.
He took the genre in a new direction that added fun and enriched so many players' experiences who wanted a game in the genre, but that had different sensibilities, that was more strategic, that was more hardcore, that was more competitive.
And it's been massively successful. We've done 10 years now of quarterly expansions, so there's like 40 plus different expansions we've released.
And what's great about Path of Exile's kind of global reach is that, after it was acquired by a larger studio, Brian kind of left the game studio and then was able to turn his attention to his other passion, disc golf.
Brian treats disc golf like a puzzle he's trying to solve, and I think he's actually solved it.
As soon as I discovered the method, I had to teach it to everybody because I wanted everybody to know how to throw correctly.
Brian's been one of the most outspoken advocates for maximizing gameplay for Magic the Gathering, for Diablo 2, for Path of Exile, and now with disc golf. The most people having the most fun, having the best experience, I think that's like foundational to how he even approaches these things. I see what he's doing with disc golf, and if he's got a strategy that is ready to show the community, I would sit up and listen.